Paul Brown said to me, son, act like you've been there before. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I just barely got on the field. I hadn't been there before. So
I'm glad to be part of that trend. Sun's out, guns out.
How about Isaac Curtis on one side, Charlie Joyner on the other side? A lot of quarterbacks were very envious that I had those two weapons to throw to. But
now, wait a minute. Is it fair that Pat McAnally is still the sexiest guy on our team? Is that?
You got me there. You got me good.
Darling, how you gonna be in that video not represent with a chain? Your tango, man. I got mine on. I'm ready to go.
Oh, that's great. That's priceless.
There are two guys that I think it's a travesty that are not in that Hall of Fame.
Ken Riley and Ken Anderson. Yeah, sure.
Put the backdrop on, Jamie. See if Marissa's okay with it.
Yeah, I got her back. Starting the Canadian fan club up here for you.
That is so funny.
My last touchdown, and that's what Joe Burrow's going to end up like if they don't start protecting his ass. It's going to be the next David Klingler, David Klingler.
There's no Spanish-speaking people here, very few. So we, fast forward, we go to the Super Bowl in Miami, and the word was the Bengals have two big Mexican offensive linemen. They don't know how to speak Spanish. So I got down there and started doing these interviews in Spanish, and they're like, "Wait, we heard you don't speak Spanish."
What's going on, fellas? What's going on? But I got on the plane one day in an all red Suge Knight suit. And boy, Joe Walters and the linemen, they destroyed me. I thought for sure I was so clean. I had some gaiters on, all red suit on. I was Suge Knight. They roasted me.
The head coach was really the pain in the butt. The Jerry Glenn, he would thought he was. If you didn't know who he was, he walked out there like he owned his stadium. And I always say, if I could get a chance to hit him on the sideline, I would.
I'm tackling your ass, Pete. I'm shoestring low on you.
But I got to tell you, you have been stepped on, son. You would have had cliques everywhere.
Well, I'm proud to be a Bengal. Yes, I'm proud to be a Bengal. Always been. I got nothing from you guys.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Football with Bengal Jim and friends. And guys, great day yesterday down at Paul Brown Stadium in downtown Cincinnati with the back together again practice at Paul Brown Stadium. So I know Josh was down there. We were hanging out most of the day. I know Tom got down there, and James couldn't make it in, guys. But, guys, it was a beautiful day yesterday, a great turnout, 15,000 fans down there. People were just happy to hell to get out and see some football again.
Rub it in. Let's hear about it.
All right, let's keep going. All right, let's show some pictures. Jamie's in the background here. I know he's on here somewhere. But Jamie, pop up the video if you're able to of the crowd that was at trying to get into Paul Brown Stadium. I want people to see this thing.
There's a few people at the stadium today. I have never in my life, I've been to practices for 40 years. I have never seen anything like this.
The same lady, friend.
It is unbelievable. It is all the way around the stadium. You think Bengal fans aren't excited about this year? Let me tell you.
That was a lot of people trying to get that thing wrapped around the stadium in multiple directions. It was crazy.
Was that our boy Brandon asking for directions?
It sounded like it probably was.
Brandon has been to PBS multiple times asking for directions. Good job, Brandon.
Jimmy, since they moved into Paul Brown Stadium, normally once a year they have a practice there or event. I think a couple times they've had an inter-squad scrimmage. I don't ever remember it being that full. I mean, that many people for a practice.
Yeah.
Not a scrimmage game, but I mean a practice. I don't ever remember it being like that.
Yeah, it wasn't even an inter squad. This was just practice. And it was a great crowd. We had almost a couple hundred people show up at the Blind Pig. There were so many people in the Blind Pig. We filled up the balcony, the inside of the Blind Pig. We even went into O'Malley's and filled it up in there to the point where they shut down the kitchen a little bit because they couldn't keep up with all the orders. So I would like to thank everybody who showed up. You guys went out of your way to take care of the staff that was there that day. Just a lot of fun. There's a couple pictures, I think, Jamie, if you can pop up some of the that's the outside part of the balcony at the Blind Pig. You can see pretty full up there. That picture doesn't do it justice because that balcony goes way out. And then there's a video that I took right at noon from the Blind Pig, just kind of walking around. As you can see, this was about noon. I guess the biggest part of the crowd was about 1 o'clock. So that's the inside of the Blind Pig. It goes all the way out to the deck. As you can see, just a beautiful day. People enjoying themselves out there. T. Higgins' mom showed up. We just had a great crowd yesterday at the Blind Pig. So Josh was out there. I kept buying Josh beers. I told him my tab was open, and I was wondering why my bill was so high at the end of the day. Josh,
yeah, when Bengal Jim calls your number and provides buckets, you answer the call. You step up. So.
No, it was a great time at the Blind Pig. There was a lot of people showed up at 11. The biggest part of the crowd was at 1, and then about 2:15, everybody kind of headed over to the stadium. So great time yesterday, man. It was a really good time. So
hey, Jimmy, I think I got another video from yesterday to add.
I see you.
Who is that guy?
That wasn't Joe Burrow. That was our one Syracuse player on the team. I had to give him I think he did three tosses to practice, and you can see people yelling. So
why didn't you just take a picture of Lappin' Dave?
One in the orange jersey, 1 of 4 in the orange jersey. So there you go. There's my Syracuse plug for the night.
That's great. Well, hey, I know we got a lot of stuff to hit on here. We're going to talk some memorabilia here in a little bit as well. But we have a special guest in the room right now, guys. Bengals Radio Network, pregame, halftime, postgame host, Wayne Box Miller. And as a Bengal fan, this guy. He's outstanding. So we're ready to talk some football with Wayne if he's in the room. Wayne, what's going on, big dog? How you doing, buddy? Can you hear us, Wayne?
Oh, I can hear you now. I was just sending you guys a message. It was kind of coming in and out, but I hear you then. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. Welcome to the show, man. We're excited to talk some football, Wayne. We got a lot of things to run by you, buddy.
Man, I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys for the invite.
Yeah, no problem. Tom, I know you had some things you wanted to kick it off with Wayne.
But one thing with Wayne, so many people are going to know the voice from being in Cincinnati media for so long, not only the comments, but Wayne, tell us, about your youth, where you're from, and I read this. I'm cheating a little bit because I read this, but where the name Box comes from, and also how active you are in the community with various causes, activities beyond the classroom, cancer support community, and also speaking to young people and boosting their confidence and talking to them about their futures.
Yeah, anything you read about my nickname is inaccurate because it's never been revealed. So that might be one of those we need to investigate. But actually, I was born in Maysville, Kentucky, believe it or not, and moved to Cincinnati in elementary school. But yeah, I've always loved being involved in the community and working at St. X High School right now. I love interacting with those young men and great group of people there. But for me, being involved in the community just is kind of what you do, right? Cincinnati, I think, is one of the most philanthropic cities in the country. I put our charitable giving up against anybody. So happy that I can play a small role in that part. But the nickname is, that's covert. If I tell you, I gotta. It's Goodfellas. If I tell you, they won't see you again.
I understand. I think there's a clip for next year's opening. But so then you went to college, Moorhead.
Yep.
Where you're in the Hall of Fame, and come to Cincinnati, a radio host, sports radio host, but other topics for years. And as time went on and the opening became available, the Bengals approached you to host and really control the Bengals radio network, getting us down to Paul Brown Stadium every Sunday and also get us home.
Yeah, it's really great that I went to Moorhead. I majored in communications. Actually, a lot of people don't know Moorhead. We have our own TV station, our own news channel. So we got a lot of experience and exposure. But Ben Cicero, who was with the Bengals, a while back, and I did work with Marvin Lewis Community Fund, volunteering, and so I was doing a lot of the pep rally Friday shows, and the opportunity came to join Dan and Dave. How do you say no to that? Two of the best in the business, and it's been a great experience, man. And the honor of opening up every game is something I don't take for granted. I always say my father, if he was living, would probably be proud as all get out because he was a diehard Bengals fan, and to know his son is doing something like that is special. On the back end when the game is over and people kind of ride home with me, I always try to find the silver lining. I know a lot of people beat me up on social media and say, come on, man, they were terrible. They were terrible. I'm like, yeah, but man, let's just find something good in life, right? Let's find something good in life and look at that, because there's enough negativity in this world to last 3 lifetimes.
Amen. Amen, Wayne. I'm with you, Box, on that. Big time, brother. Big time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
So July and August, if there's a time for optimism as a football fan, right now it's at its peak. For our Bengals this year, and I see nothing but any reason but to feel optimism, but the needle's pointed in the right direction and the pieces are starting to come together. Where do you see the team as a whole right now, and why do you feel Bengals fans should be optimistic for 2021?
That's a great question. I hate to say this because I think every year we always say, oh, man, can't wait for this year to start. Really excited. But I'm going to say it anyway. Man, this is a great year. I can't wait for this to get started. But think about it. Who thought Joe Burrow would be ready for game 1? He's ready. Who thought we'd have probably and arguably the best wide receiving trio in the NFL? I think they are. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and now Jamar Chase. One of the best running backs in the NFL, period, Joe Mixon. People don't want to face Joe Mixon for 4 quarters. And so when you look at this offense, and I truly believe one of the best additions they made in the free agent offseason was Frank Pollock, the offensive line coach. I'm a big fan of his. I admit that. I have no problem with that. I just think he played the game. I think he relates to guys, and I think it's a different model. Jim Turner has been in the NFL, so it's not like he doesn't know the game. I just think Frank Pollock probably relates to these guys a little bit better.
Yeah, interesting. So Wayne in camp right now. So we've been out a few times watching from the bridge, buddy. So
I saw you guys up there. I see you up there.
Yeah, been up there hanging out, man, just hanging out watching. But I was just kind of give us your thoughts on camp. Who stuck out at certain position groups to you, Wayne, that may have surprised you a little bit at this point?
For me, and it's really not a surprise because he was drafted in the first round as Jamar Chase. But I say that to say he doesn't play or practice like a rookie. He's fluid in and out of breaks. The one thing I noticed about him was if you watch how he goes in and out of breaks, it's not kind of a mechanical or just a stagger. It's real fluid. He knows what he's doing. He's got a powerful low base. If you've ever really looked at Jamar Chase, he's built more like a running back from the waist down. I think that they might get him the ball more. I think the other thing is the secondary. When we talked to Jesse Bates, and he was talking about having Trey Waynes in front of him, and he missed all of last year with the season-ending injury. He just talked about how good he looks in front of him, and Mike Hilton, a guy that's from the AFC North. He knows what this division is like. And then Awuzie, another guy I think is going to make some noise. I hope that Darius Phillips can stay healthy. I just think that he's a player, but he's just having trouble being healthy. But he just seems to have a knack for finding the ball. And who has a better pair of safeties in the NFL than we do? Better pair. Find them. I'd like to debate you.
Box, thank you for joining us. And as we alluded to earlier, you've had the opportunity to interview a lot of Bengals over the years. Is there a particular player, maybe not one of the so well-known ones, that you've really, truly have enjoyed getting to know, maybe because what they've done off the field, not necessarily what they've done on the field?
Probably would be Michael Johnson. And I hate to pick one because I could just start going to different eras and periods of players. But Michael Johnson is a guy that, man, he really, really got it. He understood being an NFL player and a pro was 365 days a year. He knew it meant giving back. He knew it meant making himself available, investing resources in communities, and his partnership with the police, community relations here in Cincinnati, I thought was ahead of his time. So when you think about Black Lives Matter and all the uprising around George Floyd, well, Michael Johnson was 3 or 4 years ahead of that, already trying to build those kind of relations. Another guy I think about is Dre Kirkpatrick. Win, lose, good play, bad play, Dre never shunned the media. And I always appreciated that about him, that he would make himself available. And then Big Whit. I mean, Whitworth was a guy that, again, a pro's pro. He was someone that you appreciated having. But I mean, for me, to be honest with you, guys just seem to give me the opportunity to engage with them. And so I could probably just keep going and going.
Yeah. So I know as everybody's watching right now on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, make sure to type in some questions here. We'll throw them by Box here in a minute. I know there's a few of them in here already that we're going to get to. Box, tell us a little bit about, the different feel that's inside this organization. At least we feel it on social media and outside, just a different feel and culture shift, it seems. And is it correct in thinking this is really kind of starting with Elizabeth Blackburn? I mean, just get your opinion on that.
Well, here's the beauty of everything. I always say, evolution is a degree of change. Revolution changes everything, right? So there's been an evolution, and I think Elizabeth has come in with the next wave of evolution. Caroline's on board on the digital side. But I think truly it is like a corporate culture, so to speak. And I mean, Zach relates to players different than Marvin Lewis did. You've got leaders in the locker room now who are ready to assume that role, even though they're young. Jesse Bates, Sam Hubbard. You got guys like that, man, that are saying, hey, I understand what being a leader is all about. Look at Tyler Boyd, his leadership, the way he worked with T. Higgins last year, the way he's working with Jamar Chase. But, if you think back, Katie Blackburn, when she got involved, things started to change and move in a direction that a lot of fans were pleased with. So this has been an evolution that's happened. I just think that what most people don't know is things like Ring of Honor and those types of things have been on the drawing board for a minute. It was just the right time to unveil those. And look, in my opinion, they got it right. I think if you're going to have a Ring of Honor, that the 4 people they put up there should be the first 4. Paul Brown, obviously, Anthony Munoz, no-brainer. But if you ever want to get Ken Riley and Ken Anderson in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, you have to first put them in your Hall of Fame. And so let's look at that as a step in the right direction. So they go in our Hall of Fame. Hopefully that momentum, the exposure on that Thursday night game, giving the larger media across the country a closer look at them may elevate them finally to where they belong, because quite candidly, it's absurd that neither one of them are in the Hall of Fame. I did a comparison on the radio one day. I pulled up Rod Woodson's numbers, Charles Woodson. I pulled up a couple of other Hall of Famers and put Ken Riley's numbers up against theirs. I mean, come on, man.
So Box, I was going to get to that, but I'm glad you started with that one just now, man. So we had a huge event up in Canton.
I saw that.
June 18th, 19th, and over 200 Bengal fans. Willie Anderson showed up, and we feel the same way you do, Box. And we know out of those 9 senior voters, they selected randomly 5 of those senior voters to be on the committee this year. Those 5 committee members now have casted their ballots. Their votes are in. We're going to know about the one player, the one senior player here. It's going to be sometime this month. They said it was going to be early, mid-August. So we're going to hear soon. And our feel, we feel pretty confident and pretty positive and about, we think this is the year Ken Riley gets in, Box. And we're sick to our stomach about the bottleneck of players, Box, that it's a bottleneck of NFL players, not just Ken Anderson, Ken Riley, Lamar Parrish, Max Montoya, all the Corey Dillon, Willie Anderson. There's a bunch of these guys that need to be in there. So we're really hoping, as we brought discussion and topic around this topic locally and nationally, Box, we feel you, man. So we're just trying to I hope we hear some positive news here very soon.
Well, you know, Willie Anderson, I saw Willie up there. Willie's a good friend, and actually my brother worked with him for a while. But you listen to what some of these other players say about Willie Anderson. I mean, Michael Strahan and Willie McGinnis and these guys and the respect he has. And I think his time will come. But I just appreciate the Bengal fans like you guys who rally around the cause. And let's face it, man. You look at the Bills Mafia, you look at Steeler Nation and all of these places, I'd say that they have some influence, maybe small degree. But seeing what you guys did around this, I was impressed. I thought it was really good. I thought it was energizing. I looked at Willie and I just knew how his heart was, because he always felt like when he went to Baltimore, there were a lot of things they did for him in a short period of time. But now he feels the love, man. He feels the Bengal fans, the Bengal nation, knowing that he was appreciated. And maybe it just wasn't communicated at the right time, but better late than never. And there's no doubt in his mind that Bengal fans love and appreciate Willie Anderson.
Man, he got very emotional up there, Box. It was actually give me chills thinking about it, man. Just kind of watching his reaction to some of the things that we did up there. But all right, so I'm gonna put you on the spot, Box. We got to do this to every guest. We got to get you a little uncomfortable. Right? So we've got the 4 Ring of Honors, and I agree with you. I think the Bengal fans knocked it out of the park with Ken Anderson, Ken Riley. Those were my votes as well. So the next person in, the 5th person. Who's your vote? I got mine. I'm gonna share mine with you. But who do you got on the list?
The 5th person?
Yep, it's tough, man. All of them. Let's be very clear. Let's preface this by saying every one of these guys are 100% need to be in that Ring of Honor. But man, the 5th one. This is where I think it's going to get difficult for the fans. But give us your 5th one, Wayne.
Whew. Man, do you have any Jeopardy music? You have any Jeopardy theme music you could play while I'm thinking about this? Man, I tell you, man. You know what?
I'll tell you what, Box. Think about it for another couple seconds. We're gonna give you some time here. Jimmy, put you on the spot. I'm in your corner. I'm gonna give you a towel, put a fan on you, let you cool down for a second. I'm gonna go to a question from our fans here real quick, and then we're gonna come back to that. So this will be
I'll tell you what. After you do that, I got one. So go ahead with your question.
All right.
This is from our watcher, Tony the Tiger. Box, what inspired you to write your book, From the Soul of a Man?
Oh man, they're going into the other side of me there. I've written 3 books. That was the first one. And I've always been a writer, man. I love writing poetry. I love writing song lyrics. A little fun fact, I co-wrote a song with Midnight Star. I mean, I had a very small part in writing a song called Work It Out. So I'm the last name on there because I wrote the least amount. But nonetheless, my name is on there. I felt like I needed to write 3 books. It was a spiritual thing for me, and I was frightened. I was fearful to let people know that I wrote poetry, and especially about love and romance. But I just felt like it's something I had to do to grow as a person. So I just remember having anxiety when I was doing the book signing at Joseph Beth, because I said, what if nobody shows up? Yeah, I got a stack of books here and I'm just sitting here like, but all of a sudden, man, people showed up and I am so grateful. But I encourage people to write books, man, all the time. It's just freeing. It's something that will change you forever to know that after you're gone, part of you lives on. And I mean, that's the crazy part about it. Somebody may pick up my book 50 years from now and go, man, who is this guy? You know, and it's just something that will always be there.
Nice. We need to get our resident historian, Tom, to write a book. I would buy that for sure. But okay, back to the hot seat. Now you're back. You've had 35 and a half seconds to cool off. Who is your 5th person that's going to go up on the walls of PBS?
This one for me, I'm going to surprise you guys, because I think anytime you do a Ring of Honor, you basically are telling a story. So when your kids and grandkids and people come down, you want to be able to look up there and tell the story. So the next guy I would put up there is Bob Johnson, first Bengal draft pick, had a great career, and as Paul Brown said, you always build your team from the middle out. And so a lot of people forgot about him, but he was the first draft pick in Bengals history. So I would put him up there next.
Box, you did, man. You got me. I mean, I absolutely agree. He needs to be on that Ring of Honor. But I'm gonna go with Lamar Parrish. Leaping Lamar is going to be my number 5. Tom, who's your 5th?
My 5th is Willie Anderson, and Jimmy, you and I have talked about that. But I go with Box. My 6th, not just the first Bengal draft pick, but also an AFL All-Star, and in an era where there were a lot of great Hall of Fame centers. Bob Johnson was not only a good starting center, but a top-tier center. Captain of the Bengals for 11 years, only Bengal to ever have his number retired. So I don't know what the plan is for next year, if it'll be 2 or 4 or 1, but 2.
It'll be 2.
I mean, you know me, I'm always paranoid that the line's good. Let's get 2 linemen up there, Willie Anderson and Bob Johnson.
Yeah. It's just so many deserving guys, and that's why I'm excited about having a Ring of Honor, is because there's so many guys and so many stories. Sometimes I get in debates with people and they try to put the Bengals down, and I said, let me tell you something. Look at how many teams have been to more than one Super Bowl. It's not a long list. And we're one of those teams. So, yes, we didn't win, and yes, I went to the first one, and the 49ers did what they did again, because I went to the one in Miami. But when you look at teams that have been to multiple Super Bowls, the Cincinnati Bengals are amongst them.
Yep, good point. All right, Box, we're going to get into a little position groups, man. Let's talk a couple things here. So typically they're going to carry 6 receivers, right?
Yeah, well, it just depends, but I always say this. I never say what they're going to carry, because then they'll turn around and carry 7, and then everybody says, well, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So I'm going to say I'll wait and see.
Yeah. So let's talk about the receiving group, man. Obviously, we got Tyler Boyd, we got Chase, we got T. I think Autumn's going to probably be that 4th, right? I would think. But then there's some competition going on here on the back end of that receiver room, Box.
I tell you, it was a good day yesterday for the young kid, Trenton.
Yep.
He had a good camp, but this is what preseason is all about to me, man. It's like, you think back to Alex Erickson. Every year, it was like, will Alex Erickson make the team? Oh, he's on the bubble. Oh, if he doesn't play well tonight. Well, Alex Erickson has had a really good career. I mean, he's with the Houston Texans now. But I just keep saying, and you guys have been to practice, but man, Auden Tate is just a sleeper waiting to happen. But I mean, when you're Joe Burrow, and option 1 is T. Higgins, and option 2 is Tyler Boyd, and option 3 is Jamar Chase, and option 4 is Joe Mixon on a wheel route. I mean, and then option 5 is C.J. Uzama, and I mean, good Lord. But at that wide receiver position, I think that Mike Williams. I think that's what you want. You want competition, because if you can play under pressure, knowing that you're fighting for a job, when you get in the game, what is that? I mean, what is that? That's no big deal. But I'm just telling you, I personally think that Auden Tate continues little by little. I know it's incremental, but man, this dude makes catches, and we saw it last year. We saw it the year before. And I'll tell you Auden Tate's story. His rookie season, I think I was standing next to Dan and Dave, and he ran an out route, and Dalton threw the ball and had some zip on it, and the ball went through the DB's hands were probably like this, and the ball just gets through his hands before he could clamp it, and all of a sudden, Auden Tate's hands come out of nowhere, and you guys know big suction cups, like boom, grabs a ball, toe taps, and it just all happens so fast that you're all looking at each other like, did we just see that? and you think about how he's going vertical to grab balls, and the guys just can make acrobatic catches. But you think in the red zone, if he could, get that down where you got T. Higgins on one side, Auden Tate on the other side, and they're jump balls. I don't know any DBs that can go up with Tate and T. Higgins, as he showed yesterday, can go up and get red zone touchdowns.
Right.
I agree, Box. For a 7th-round pick out of Florida State, I think Tate's underrated. Need him to stay healthy, and I think can be a huge asset to us, in our already deep receiving core. I've got one more question here, and I know Tom has one, Box. I read an article, and you mentioned your relationship with Mike Brown and mentioned Mike Brown's involvement with the Underground Railroad, which those from Cincinnati knows is right down the street from Paul Brown Stadium. Is there any other Mike Brown stories you can share with us and the relationship you developed with him over the years?
Yeah, matter of fact, I can. Mike is one of those guys, people have this perception of him and they have their right. But he's just one of those people, if you really sat down and start talking to him, you would probably do a 180 because Mike is more aware than you think. And one of my conversations with Mike that was endearing to me was Mike talked about opportunities for people of color in the game of football. And I said, going back to his dad who brought in Marion Motley and Bill Willis, and that wasn't the norm at that time. And when you think about the Bengals and the players that they've brought in from the time the franchise started, historically, this team has always done well with that. And I think Stephen Smith, who I had an issue with Marvin Lewis because he berated Marvin Lewis, I think, unceremoniously and beat him up. Name another NFL team who would give a coach that much tenure of not reaching the goals that they set forth. Now, typically, if we're going to be honest here, typically coaches of color don't get that much grace. You think about the coach with Arizona, he loses one losing season. What even his players, he gets fired. Think of Ray Rhodes back in the day. He went 8-8 and got fired. And so I could sit here and peel off one after another. Mike Brown didn't do that. Mike Brown let Marvin Lewis stay. Now, people are probably telling me, well, Box, that's a daggone problem. He should have got rid of Marvin Lewis. But I'm only saying it from the standpoint of being fair and saying to Marvin, I'm going to give you as many chances as I can. The beauty of that, if you guys remember this, name a coach that gets fired that has a press conference at that team stadium. It was such an amicable party that Marvin Lewis stepped to the microphone and said, hey, I didn't get the job done, but the relationship was such that they were able to do that. So for me, Mike Brown and I talked about those kind of things and opportunities and the belief of just doing that. Now, does he get it right all the time? Does anybody? No. But if you take a good look, and to me, I'm going to always point back to the Marvin Lewis period of coaching. I thought he was more than fair with Marvin Lewis. That's all I could ask.
Agree. Thanks for sharing that story, Box. Tom, you had a question?
I've got a question in two parts just with that theme, Box. The first part is, certainly Zach Taylor with the record has been under a lot of criticism and full, I've been criticism of certain decisions too. Sure. However, in his 2 years, he hasn't had, forget a few injuries. The team's been decimated with injuries. He really hasn't had a chance to coach the team as a team yet.
Right.
But do you get a sense from talking to the guys and being down there and what you listen, it seems like the team, whoever's there, whoever's healthy enough to suit up, they play their tails off for him every week. Do you get a sense of that? Do you think that's going to continue this year and then probably generate into some more wins?
I'll say this. The best example I can give you is Giovanni Bernard, who's with Tampa Bay now. If you remember last year when things were not going well, there was some mutiny on the bounty, and Gio stepped to the mic and pledged his allegiance. I just think that it's unfortunate. The injuries are part of football. I remember when Marvin Lewis was the head coach, I think they set a record once for the number of season-ending injuries. But I also say this. They wanted to get rid of Tom Coughlin in New York the year before he won the Super Bowl because they said he was a horrible coach and he didn't know what he's doing, get him out of here. But I think that this team, this coach, this chemistry, I really think that this year they all feel like they are ready to prove that This team is a formidable opponent. This team can win games. I mean, let's be honest. Who picked them to beat Pittsburgh last year? I didn't. I don't have a problem saying that. But they did it with a backup quarterback. And so that defense, that's Juju Smith-Schuster. The Bengals defense, much maligned, came to play. Bengals offense put points on the board. I mean, you just keep seeing little bits and pieces. And the thing you say this year is do it for 4 quarters now. So start off strong, maintain, finish up. That's 3 segments I always say, start the game right. Second and third quarter, hang tough. Fourth quarter, go to your Mariano Rivera. Whatever that is. Bring out the Mariano Rivera playbook, bring out the Mariano Rivera defense, and let's just shut it down. Now, I just really think that these guys and Zach are really ready to just become that complete team this year.
Sort of piggybacking on that, we're all excited about the offense. We're all excited about Joe Burrow being healthy, Joe Mixon being back, hopefully the offensive line going well. The other side of the line, year 3 for Lou Anarumo's defense, pretty much a whole new group of cornerbacks for us. And, some refreshers on defensive line. We get DJ Reader healthy and for a full season. Do you get a sense the defense is ready to take that next step, put some heat on the quarter, or go the best way to help the pass rush is to have great defensive backs. The best way to help
question about it.
They have a great pass rush. Are they ready?
Right. Yes. Here's the thing I said to Coach Anarumo. When the draft happened this year, I said, it's almost like you had 2 drafts because you picked up Trey Waynes and you picked up DJ Reader and Mike Daniels. All of them had injuries, and those were guys that they signed in free agency to come in and bolster up that defense. So now that Hendrickson, who's coming in with, I think, 15 sacks, and you got Mike Daniels healthy, ready to go. DJ Reader's ready to go. Trey Waynes is healthy. Chidobe Awuzie is here, ready to provide punch. Mike Hilton. Again, you got 2 safeties that are Pro Bowl caliber and Von Bell and Jesse Bates. And I asked Lou the same thing about continuity. He's got his system in place for the 3rd year now. And he's got players who have been in that system for 3 years now where you could add those nuances and wrinkles. And you got quarterbacks out there, people that know what to do. I know. I swear I hate saying this because you say he's a homer, but man, when you watch these guys play or practice or you hear them talk about each other, Sam Hubbard wears Jesse Bates Foundation shirt to the press conference. He didn't have to do that, but he had it on because he was already supporting his teammate. It's just something different going on down there, and I think we all can feel it.
Josh?
Sorry, I was muted. Wayne, thanks for letting us in on the other side. You talked about the books that you wrote and being a songwriter. What's in the future for Wayne Box Miller? What do you got coming up for us? Any thing you got to scratch off the bucket list left?
Play better golf. I'll scratch that off the list if I can. I mean, good Lord, man. If I could use my practice swing, I'd probably be probably a 6 handicap. But the guy that swings the practice swing and the guy that hits the ball, like 2 different people, and I'm trying to figure out how to bring them together. But for me, man, right now it's about securing my future and doing good for others. And working at St. X, man, I really truly value the opportunity to work with young men, and I like what St. X does and the platform of Men for Others. I love mentoring. I have a lot of guys that I mentor right now. Branson Wright, who works with the Undefeated. He's done some ESPN projects, Believe Land, the Women of Troy. I have other guys that are doing things. But for me, man, as I get older, I'm blessed, man. I'd like just to say that being able to do Bengals football, being able to work with young men and still having reasonably good health, and what more do you really want at this point, man? Like I said, just if you guys got some tips on my golf swing, I mean, I want to write a book about how you saved me.
Box, there is nobody on this screen that's helping with your golf game. I'm telling you that right now.
I was holding out hope, man. I was holding out hope.
So I'm gonna go back to defense, Wayne. I mean, they spend a lot of they spend a lot of money on defense too the past few years in free agency and focusing on some depth on that line. I mean, they're trying to fill some holes here, and it's obvious the money they spent the past few years. A lot of it has been on defense. So I was really intrigued last year with that really young linebacking core, and I like some of the talent and kids that have their box. I love Akeem. We got Marcus and Pratt and Logan. Can you talk about that linebacking core? Do you think they're going to make another step in the right direction this year? I thought they had a good year. They need to take another step, in my opinion. But just get your opinion on that linebacking core.
Oh yeah, I think they're ready. Logan Wilson is going to be the Mike linebacker. He talked about that. He's a kid that just has a knack for finding the ball. If you remember last year, I mean, it just seemed like he was always where the ball would be, and he would make the play. I don't know if you guys know this, but in high school he played probably 5 or 6 different positions, offense and defense. Very athletic, very smart, very football minded, and really is good. I think Team Davis Gaither is ready to take a step up. Jermaine Pratt looks good. I mean, he's got some games under his belt. So I really, really think that this linebacking core is faster. The game of the NFL right now is linebackers have to be fast and go sideline to sideline. And no more thumping. The linebackers that used to be the thumpers, you have a few of those, but man, if you can't go sideline to sideline, it's going to be a long day. But I think they have the guys in place. I would tell you, man, Logan Wilson, I think may be the breakout guy on this defense. And he looks good. He looks ready to go. And I think he's going to be a difference maker. But, Pratt's getting more and more comfortable. But they're young, but they're growing again. They've been in a loose system. Jermaine's been in a loose system 3 years. Logan, this is his second year. Team's second year. So look for these guys to show a little bit more of their capabilities. And you guys have been around the game long enough to know the leap, according to Dave Lapham, from year 1 to year 2 is quantum. And so when you think about what these guys learned as rookies, and now you're seeing everything for game 17 or game 14 or game 12 or 13, and you're seeing it for a second season, a lot of things start to happen a lot slower that allows you to play a lot looser.
Yeah. So last thing from me, Wayne, we appreciate your time today, and I love talking football with you, buddy. It's been listening to you all these times and finally get you on and talk some football, man. I love it. And there's always somebody in camp. You talked about Trenton Irwin, kind of a kid that sticks out, but there's a kid I'm really rooting for, boxing, and this Puka Williams kid, man. They seem to be using him in a lot of different ways right now. Even at the practice yesterday, they seem to be trying to figure out a way to use this kid. I love this kid. I hope he makes the squad.
First of all, it'd be fun to say his name every week. I mean, for me, selfish, I think the culture of this team in that, okay, you're talent. You're not going to get on the field as a running back, but how can we leverage you, right? So if we line him up in the slot and he comes in motion, maybe one's a wheel route, or he does something else where you just get the ball in his hands in open spaces. Guys like that, you just want to get them the ball in open spaces and let their athleticism take over. But, one of the things that I'm excited about, and I was trying to watch a little bit more intently, was the defensive line coach Dobie and, Pollock being back. One of the things that never gets talked about a lot is when you bring in new coaches, how do the players mesh with them? What is their coaching style like? Are they able to connect with guys and get what they need out of them? And so for me, that's kind of something I kind of keep an eye out for, how those players respond to their coach, because you remember, once the game starts, that relationship has to already be working. So if that defensive line coach is asking for a guy to do something or demanding he do something better or whatever, that relationship has got to be there. And I think that's one of those things that are overlooked a lot of times because everybody gets caught up in the sex and sizzle, like, ooh, Jamar Chase or ooh, Joe Burrow. But who's communicating to those guys during the game? And it's those position coaches. I really, really like what I see in those guys and hope that that chemistry is there with them too.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. So last thing, I will leave you with this one. I love listening to you guys post game, and I like the comment you said that you made as you started talking to us today about, hey, you know what? Life's too short anyhow. Why don't be negative about things. You try to put a positive spin on things. And Box, I live my life like that, man. I can't live with that black cloud over my head. Just trying to stay positive, right? But what's post game when the Bengals lose a game, man. I know Dave Lapham's down in the locker room trying to get a hold of these players. How tough is that sometimes after a loss? These players, would hate dealing with this, but I know it's tough for you and Dave and everybody else.
For me, so let me say this first of all. Dan Hort and Dave Lapham, to me, I've had the pleasure of working with these guys, not just as a pregame and postgame, but in Bengals pep rally shows, and each two of the most prepared people that I think I've been around when it comes to sports broadcasting. And I've said this 100 times, and I'll say it again. Dave Lapham has the toughest job. Somebody like Dave Lapham has the toughest football in the locker room, and talk to guys after a disappointing loss. Not a loss. If you lose sometime and you play bad, I can step to the mic and say, hey, we didn't tackle, or we didn't execute, or we didn't convert on third down, or whatever. But you talk about a tough loss. Like, say you're winning, and I go back to the Pittsburgh game a few years back, and Roethlisberger goes to Antonio Brown, and he's driving down the field, and we're all thinking too much time on the clock for Ben. They go down the field. Defense did get the right read. Antonio Brown slips, touchdown. He has to go to the locker room after that. That's an unenviable job. But the trooper, I pain, but that's still hard, man. I tell you, when I see him leave the broadcast booth and head downstairs after a tough loss, I seriously do shake my head, because I don't know if I could do that as well as he does it, man.
That's tough, man. It's tough. Wayne, I cannot wait for this season to get going. We cannot wait. We cannot wait to listen to you pregame, halftime, and postgame. On the ride home from the game, I'll be listening to every show, Box. But it means a lot you being with us today, man. We appreciate it.
Hey, man, I'm truly honored. I mean that, and let me tell you why. In this world of sports, man, and I'm an older guy than most of you, probably older than all of you, but in the world of digital, right? We've gone from, when I grew up, there were 3 channels, and when we got channel 19, we thought the world had just blown wide open, like we got a 4th option. Well, now you got cable, and you got apps, and you got streaming, and you got social media, and you got digital, and so people are going everywhere to engage with into this digital platform, man, and give me a chance to connect with people and guys like you. I see you guys out and about. It's just as much an honor for me, and I really want to express that. And thank you guys for listening. Post-game show can be challenging because, again, tough losses, but you guys are listening. You're basically saying, hey, man, we'll ride with you, and I'm riding with you too. I just want you guys to know that.
So, Wayne, when you got a 17-0 season coming up, it's going to be fun on the radio, buddy. It's going to be a lot of fun this year.
Man, I'm anticipating a lot of good post-game shows. I have no problem saying that. 17 games this year. I'm anticipating a lot of good post-game shows this year.
Well, yes, sir. But Wayne, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for being with us, man. We got to do this again.
Absolutely,
we got to do this during the season, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, we'll see you, Wayne. Thank you.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Okay, brother.
Who day, man?
Who day?
Sorry, he was kind of breaking up there a little bit towards the end, but again, none better than Box, man. He did. He's awesome.
Yeah, I had a chance to run into him at a couple of the pep rallies when he filled in when Dan Hort couldn't be there. He's a classy guy. He does a lot for the community. He takes the time to talk to fans, and like he said, his knowledge goes beyond football. He spends a lot of time in the community, and he's a solid man.
He's a great representative of the city, not just the team. So
correct.
The big 2-1.
Good point. Good point.
One
Tom.
name that was mentioned on there was Logan Wilson. ESPN just released an article. It's an insider article ranking the NFL's top 25 prospects, young players who could level up in 2021. So there's 25 guys on it. One Bengal made that, and that's Logan Wilson at number 4. So apparently words got out around the league that, maybe he's a sleeper on a roster that could have a breakout season. And we know we've struggled at that linebacker position for years. And the article talks about, since Ray and Vontez, man, there's been a big gap there. So especially on the defensive side of the ball, we could really use Logan Wilson to have a breakout season.
So, guys, we still have a ton of stuff to get to, guys, believe it or not. So let's go ahead and get right into just kind of a couple reminders. We got to get into some memorabilia. James has something we're going to roll out here for fantasy football. But I just want a reminder here for everybody. August 17th, we're changing August 28th, the Talking Football with Bengal Jim and Friends memorabilia show at 16 lots, 5 to 7 o'clock. There is I'm not kidding, maybe 15 to 25 people yesterday that stopped us to talk about this. That is going to be a huge event. Make sure you RSVP. We have that RSVP set up on Facebook right now. It's going to be a lot of fun. David Fulcher is going to be in attendance. We have a lot of folks bringing their own memorabilia. We're going to stream a show from 5 to 7. And at 7 o'clock, there's a Bengal trivia, plenty of food, drink, and beer there that night. Don't forget about the memorabilia show. August 17th, we're transitioning like we did last year from Sunday nights to Tuesday nights. We've got a very special guest that evening. We're firming up as we speak on here as well. Again, we'd like to thank our friends from Houday Nation for following us and helping us. We appreciate all our friends from Houday Nation on Facebook, watching in and tuning in. Make sure you follow and subscribe to their Facebook page. James, you've got something here we've been working on here for a few weeks. I know you wanted to roll out tonight.
Yeah, we're excited. We teased this the last couple weeks, but for the first time ever, we're going to have a Bengal Gyms Fantasy Football League. We know how exciting fantasy football is. That goes hand in hand with a normal NFL season. So we have 16 teams. Jimmy's already got a team. I've got one. Jamie. We'll see if our other guest here want to partake. But it's going to be a $50 entry. And 100% of the proceeds are going to go to our friends at the Javante Woods Foundation. For those that remember, Icky was one of the first foundations we donated to way back when. It's been a while since we've had the opportunity to give back to Icky and the foundation for his son, who so tragically lost his life to asthma many years ago. So 100% of those proceeds from the Bengal Gym Fantasy Football League will go to the Javante Woods Foundation. And as an added bonus, you're going to get a signed Icky Woods jersey to the winner and bragging rights. So we'll talk about it every week on the show, who's leading, who had a terrible week. Just a little forward. Jimmy usually has terrible teams, so we'll be able to make fun of Bengal Jim every week and his lack of fantasy football knowledge. He'll probably have 27 Bengals on his roster, which is fine, but we'll give it a chance to bust Jimmy's chops a little bit. But if you'd like to join, send us a PM. Again, it'll be a $50 donation. All that money goes to the Javante Woods Foundation. It's a 16-team league. We'll have a live draft. And then the first 16 spots we fill up, that's it. And again, all goes to charity. So if you want to partake in that, let us know. We'd love to have you, and we'll keep everyone posted on how many spots we have left. So send us a private message and let us know if you want to play.
Yep. Send it to us and we'll shoot you the link to get you in there. And James, you never know. I might pull a surprise this year. I'm really going back and forth. Should I draft Fat Randy in the first round or not? But you can never have a kicker. You can never draft a kicker too early in a fantasy football draft. So.
Speaking of Fat Randy, we talked about this, I think, in a text this week. My son's teacher's last name is Bullock. So I have to remember not to call her Fat Randy. That wouldn't go over well. My son will probably be expelled from school. So it's Miss, and I think she says Bullock. So that's my only saving grace, not to have Fat Randy slip out of my.
So I'm just randomly going to text that to James' cell phone every day when he drops off. Fat Randy. When he drops off Cannon at school, see what happens there.
Oh, goodness.
So real quick update, the Hall of Fame senior voting. So we talked a little bit about it with Bach. So the 5 senior committee members have their ballots in. They're in. They've already made their vote. And we're going to find out here in the next couple of weeks, guys. Hopefully sooner than later. But what was told early mid-August is when they'll announce the committee members' recommendation. And again, it's only one senior player that gets the nomination there. So again, like Tom said, just stay vigilant on social media. We have a lot of stuff on the Bengals Hall of Fame account. If you need something, any statistics or anything there you need to pull off or share with the Hall of Fame or some of those committee members, it's on there. There's all kinds of data and information. It's about being positive, respectful, information, data sharing. We have emailed every one of the senior committee with links and information and data and the why behind these guys being in the Hall of Fame. So keep going.
I was speaking with a guy in New York this week. Actually, we texted, but I speak with him regularly. And he said, keep in mind for you guys in Cincinnati, there was no buzz for Ken Riley a few years ago. He said, Ken Anderson was always one of those, they nodded, yes, he should be in there, but then there was an excuse. He said, Willie Anderson, they all knew he was one of the best linemen of his era and probably the best right tackle. But, they had to go this way. And now they're at least being discussed. They're at least being debated. And, in the case of Ken Riley, nearly made it last year. And Willie Anderson, made it through the first round last year. So it does matter. So much of it is because of you, the fans. Keep it up. Don't stop. If anything, do it more.
Yep. Good stuff. So we've got some really cool stuff here Josh is going to hit on. Basically, they're called Forever Collectibles, FOCO bobbleheads. Like these are – the whole series started in 2001, I think. Right, Josh?
Yeah, 2001 is when they got started. We're going somewhere with this. We're going to show you every single series they put out. Back in 2001, when Forever Collectibles became a company, they released a Corey Dillon bobblehead. It was the first Bengals bobblehead produced through their company. And later in the season, when you went to the stadium, as Tom noted earlier, and you signed up for a Visa gift card, they gave you a Richmond Webb bobblehead, who was a free agent in 2001. So those were the very first 2 bobbleheads produced through this company. And we obviously know there's other companies that we'll touch on in future shows, but everything you're going to see here tonight is Forever Collectibles that later became FOCO.
Hey, Josh, I'm going to stop you. So everybody that's watching right now, you're going to see some bobbleheads here you may have never seen before, but it is interesting to me as Josh was putting this together and we were getting these images that we're going to go through. Just look in the screen now. You see the 2001 bobbleheads and look how far bobbleheads have come from 2001 to current day. Just wait till you see the progression of this stuff. This is where it starts.
So in 2002, it's a mixed variety set here. They had the little bobber sets. There's a Takeo Spikes I still have in the package. That's a Corey Dillon again. Head coach Dick LeBeau, which is probably the hardest one to find just because, it's Dick LeBeau. No one really cared about bobbleheads back then. They haven't survived. And then a generic Bengals player there in an 02 jersey. So that is the 2002 Forever Collectibles bobbleheads from the Cincinnati Bengals produced. 2003 was the year that Carson Palmer was drafted by the Bengals, so they released the Carson Palmer Draft Day bobblehead, and then they went pretty wild on Carson Palmer. He has one in the jersey there, then one handing off the ball to Corey Dillon. They only made 504 of those. Carson actually never played a game with Corey Dillon, so that's kind of an interesting, unique piece. They also have a Peter Ward bobblehead over there on the right. That's a really hard one to get a hold of. And a Marvin Lewis. That's his first edition bobblehead right there. 2004 was when Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson, was immortalized, you could say, by Forever Collectibles. And Rudy Johnson had a bobblehead back there. And Carson Palmer's next bobblehead in 2004. They're all featured on it looks like a Bengals ticket stub, generic ticket stub right there. So that was kind of a cool base. And then in 2005, the same 3 doubled back again on they called that the Platinum Base Series. Those were 1 out of 2005 bobbleheads. They always do the year. So 2005, so there's 2005 of these bobbleheads out there for each individual player. That's the Platinum Base in 05. Going on to 06, they did the black Platinum with the silver Platinum coin. Chad Johnson and Carson were in white jerseys. Then they also did Chad Johnson and Carson in black jerseys. There was 2 versions of the Carson Palmer, one where he's passing and one where he's kind of pumping the ball. The one was a Kroger exclusive. The other one was just you could find it anywhere. But that was all the 2006 Forever Collectibles bobbleheads. 2007 is when TJ Hushmanzada got to join the ranks. So once again, you have Chad, Rudy, and Carson again. But that's the first TJ Hushmanzada bobblehead that Forever Collectibles made. 2008 was the first year they introduced the big head bobblehead. So we have Carson Palmer, Chad Johnson, and the big head bobbleheads. And then the Carson Palmer's on a photo base. They called that because it's a full picture of Carson Palmer on the base there. Going on to 2009, they produced only big heads that year for the Bengals. We got 2 different versions of Houday. Once again, one was a Kroger's exclusive. The other one was like a version they made for everywhere. You also got 2 different versions of TJ Hushmanzada and Carson Palmer again. 2010 was 2 Bengals clocks that featured bobbleheads on the top. We have Carson Palmer, Chad Ochocinco with the famous blonde mohawk there, and then the actual first bobblehead that says Ochocinco on the base for our man Chad. Going on to 11, interesting. So Chad wasn't with us in 11, but Foco still produced a bobblehead, just like they did in TJ Hushmanzada wasn't with us in 09, but they still produced a Hushmanzada. So in 2011, in a head that kind of looks like Terrell Owens to me, Ochocinco gets another base.
It does.
And then they finally transitioned. 2012, Forever Collectibles changes its name to Foco, and Foco being short for Forever Collectibles. And that's the first year that they produced an AJ Green and Andy Dalton bobblehead. So there's the red rifle. Going on to 13, they searched the pennant base there, and also we have the Tyler Eifert Draft Day bobblehead. You'll notice AJ and Andy on the left in black jerseys. Those are one out of 2013. On the right, they're in orange jerseys. There's only 144 of those Andy Daltons and 188 of those AJ Greens. So those are very, very rare pieces right there. They sold those at the Pro Shop as Pro Shop exclusives. 2014, we have another Houday bobblehead and a couple different AJ Green variants that they made. Also, the first bobblehead they made of Giovanni Bernard on a springy leg bobblehead base there. 2015, Foco produced another AJ Green. I think there's ended up being 7 AJ Greens altogether, and then another version of Houday. The mascot bobbleheads always sell pretty well. 2016, yet again, AJ Green. 2017, though, is when we go and we actually got our Legends Throwback Series started. So we got Chris Collinsworth and Boomer Esiason on the 2017 Legends base. 2018, and this is, okay, here's a good example, Jimmy. So we went from 2001 to 2018. You can see just the detail. So there's 2001 to how far we've come, 2018. I mean, they started photos players' faces. I mean, that's Geno Atkins to a T. The MVP, community MVP, they only made 200 of these bobbleheads. Geno Atkins was featured that year. That's a very rare piece there. And then we got 2 more, I think, 3 more pictures. Go on to 19. Joe Mixon was finally immortalized for Foco on a bobblehead. And then I think that was the final AJ Green piece that they made there. And then we got 2020 is when Joe Burrow, they went ham on him. They made 4 different Bengals bobbleheads, a couple more of the mascots. And then finally, I think there's one more slide. These are just some generics that they've made over the years. There's Santa Claus as a bobblehead, a zombie as a bobblehead, and a couple vintage, they call those models. So Foco's produced a lot of bobbleheads for the Bengals over the last 20 years. There you pretty much see them in their entirety. I think I have them all but one. But we are working on something that we're going to announce here in a few weeks, and it's going to be through Foco. It's a Bengal Gym and Friends. We're getting our friends with Heirloom Framing involved, and I can't wait to drop that for you guys. But there's a little quick history on the Cincinnati Bengals franchise with Forever Collectibles and Foco.
Hey, Josh, the Foco, the Forever Collectibles, were they doing other NFL teams and other players, or was that just something the Bengals made arrangements with?
No, they did. They do all 32 teams. They do all sports. Even you'll find they do celebrities. They do everything. So,
hey, Josh, I know they only made 2 of them. I'll give you mine because I doubt James will give his up. It's a 2011 off-season bobblehead of Carson Palmer standing on a 2-man in a truck with his bottom lip out, and he's got a suitcase in his hand. Quit on us. So, but you can have mine. I know James would want to hang on to it.
Oh boy, I think we use it for target practice.
I love Tom Justin. That's hilarious.
I'm waiting for his book. I'm going to have the forward in it.
Book. They're making a movie.
Josh, hey man, thanks for sharing that stuff, buddy. So one more. If you close out, Josh, let's start closing out here. But I'd like you to, as you're closing, if you could just maybe hit the August 28th thing again as well, the memorabilia show.
Yeah, absolutely. So yesterday, like we said, we had the back together event. From what I remember, it was great. Jimmy brought those buckets slinging all morning long. So hazy and phasey, but I'd like where the team's going. Like I said, we're building a monster. I've been preaching that for 2 months, but when you got there and you saw all those fans in line waiting to get in, I truly believe that this fan base is rising to be one of the top fan bases in the NFL. I'm going to go ahead and say it. We're going to be the best fan base in the NFL in the next 5 years.
Hell yeah.
To do that, we got to get together. We got to spend more time together and build this fan base. And you have that opportunity on August 28th for the Talking Football with Bengal Jim and Friends Memorabilia Roadshow. I want to clear all confusion. This is a bonding event where you can have some beer and some great pizza. We're going to be talking about what Bengals memorabilia means to you. We want you to bring something that means something to you. And if you don't have anything, come anyway. Hear the stories of what made us Bengals fans, that piece that we have, that we collect, that we just truly love. And it just signifies why we're fans. You're going to come out, and if you want to get involved and get on the show, we're going to put you on stage with us, and you'll get to share that with us. If you just want to sit back and have a beer and eat some pizza and watch the show, we welcome you to come do that too. But it's going to be a great night. David Fulcher is going to be in the house. He's going to have a lot of items that he's selling off that benefit his charity. We want you to come out and have a great time, and it's going to be just another one of those great events. If you're not there, you're going to miss out. So I hope that you can make it with us.
So I'll piggyback on that. It's at our friend 16 Lots up there in Mason. I want to congratulate our buddy Craig, who had a great beer fest in a city on the other end of the state, and saw some tweets from Dell, who ran out of a bunch of his beer, which is great. So 16 Lots, if you never had the opportunity to go there, we definitely recommend do so. I'm just going to give one more plug to the Fantasy Football League. If you want to do it, it's a PPR league. It's on ESPN, and we'll do an online draft. So you don't have to be in Cincinnati to partake. $50 entry, 100% of the proceeds go to the Icky Woods Foundation for his son, Javante, and be a lot of fun. Winner gets a signed Icky jersey. So hopefully you can partake in that. And I'm going to sweat it out the next month and hope my Syracuse product, Eric Dungy, can at least hold on to the practice squad and maybe carry our boy Joe Burrow's clipboard during the season. Tom?
Please, everybody, stay on it for Ken Riley and Ken Anderson with the senior committee, and for the current voters for Willie Anderson. These guys need our help. They need for us. Their play, they don't need our help with their play. Their play should have them in. They just need our help to get the word out a little bit and help offset the big market versus small market mentality. So please help those guys out, and can't wait for that first preseason game against Tampa, where James' guy gets the quarterback the team for 2 quarters.
That would be a dream come true. And also, we want to thank Jamie. He's behind the scenes, being producer extraordinaire as always. He's not in a soup kitchen this week, like some people said last week. He's doing well. He's fine in Canada. He'll be on screen next week, I promise. He just needed a week off.
He's having a bad hair day, guys.
Bad hair day today. I think he's right. You know what I think he's doing? I think he's working on a new Marissa Contepelli backdrop. So stay tuned for that. New season. We need a new one of those. So we miss you, Jamie. Thanks for all your hard work behind the scenes. Jimmy?
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Yeah, just real quick, just a couple of reminders. The August 28th show is going to be a lot of fun. There's no need. I mean, you don't need to register. We'd like you to RSVP. That RSVP is on Facebook. Go to our Facebook page. We don't have that on any other platform right now. Excuse me. You guys just show up. It's going to be a great time. I would say to get there early, because this thing's going to fill up pretty quickly at the end of the day here for that. 8/17, our show changed. Don't forget, we're going from Sunday to Tuesday on the 17th. So did we decide, was it one more show on Sunday before we go to Tuesday, I think?
I think we got two more. Yeah.
Two more?
One or
Okay.
two more, yeah.
And really, I just want to just kind of a quick recap from yesterday. I cannot begin to tell you how amazing it was to see all the fans down there, interact with people again. People were so excited to get out. We filled up the Blind Pig. We shut down their kitchen. We overwhelmed them so much. And just all the people we got to talk to throughout the day. Man, that's a picture of us in the at the game there. So from left to right, you see a smiling face there. That's Lisa. We had a great time. We even went out afterwards. And then you see Caleb, and you see Chucky there, and Josh, and Hannah, and Ryan, and Brandon, myself, my wife Trisha, Carrie, and Tony. We just had the best time, and it wasn't just pregame and during the practice. Well, this is just a picture postgame at Jefferson Social. There was another probably 10 people that joined us, and then I went and picked up the bus, and we went down to the Pens and played some Pens bowling, and had some drinks. But it was a long day yesterday, from 9:30, 10 o'clock all the way up to about 11 o'clock at night last night. So it was a great day, but the energy and positivity right now in this fan base is outstanding. So really looking forward to get the season start and get to see everybody on a more regular basis. So great stuff. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next Sunday. Hoo day, everybody.
Hoo day.
Hoo day.